Hi class. So for today's demonstrative speech, I am going to be demonstrating how to sumo deadlift. First, let me say I'm a power lifter. I've been powerlifting for about a year straight. I've also been in the gym for about maybe 3 years now. Previously, before, I was a cross-country and track runner. I was a sprinter. I ran the 200 and the 100-meter dash. I was not the fastest, but I wasn't the worst at the same time. And I was a pretty decent distance runner. So I've had some experience in the sports, but about a year ago I wanted to transition into powerlifting. I wanted to get a little bit more mass, but I also wanted to get stronger. So this is what powerlifting revolves around, is movement. There are 3 movements in powerlifting, and that is the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift. And today we're going to be talking about the deadlift. But most importantly, a form of deadlift called the sumo deadlift. So the sumo deadlift is a little bit different than a conventional deadlift where you're using mainly your hamstrings. The sumo deadlift actually consists of a wider stance and consists of you using your quads, most importantly, but your adductors, which are the inside muscles. Think of your groin, per se. That is an abductor. Or just the inside of your quad towards your kneecap. That's an adductor as well. So, we're going to be talking about those. But most importantly, I want to focus on this lift, per se, as a movement. And how to deadlift. So, first off, we're going to be breaking down foot positioning, how to position your foot, how to grip the ground when you deadlift, and then lastly, we're gonna cover how to pull, how to tighten your back, and then how to use your legs. So let's begin. So when you deadlift, you normally have your legs at a close stance. You have them at least within hip length apart. And when you pull, you use your hips. So I'm going to demonstrate. When you pull, you kind of tilt your pelvis and you arch your back like this. And then when you pull, you squeeze your butt. So that is kind of a lot like what the sumo deadlift is. We're still focusing on the pelvis, but there are a few areas that are a little bit different, and that's where we come to the feet. So with the sumo deadlift, your feet are actually at a wider stance. They normally say to demonstrate, about this far apart when you deadlift. So when you hit a sumo stance, your feet are pointed out a little bit sideways. You kind of want to point them out a little bit like a arrow, per se. And then when you pull, you arch your hips. Well, first off, let's come back to the feet here. The feet are your main points of contact. You want your feet to be gripping the ground. And a proper way to grip your ground other than your stance is now, so we have our stance at a wider way. We have our feet angled out. When we grip the ground, we think of an eagle. So when you see an eagle, when they grab something or when they perch on something, their feet are kind of like this. They crunch up almost, and they kind of like grab something. So our goal here is to grip the ground. When we grip the ground, this engages our glutes, our glute minimus and our glute max. So, when we get into our sumo deadlift, we angle our feet out just a little bit away from hips distance, and we grip the ground. You think of squeezing your toes tight as you can and pushing out your legs. So that is foot positioning there. You want to focus on having the eagle foot, as I like to say, and having your stance wide and your feet pointed out. Next, I want to get into back. I think the back is the most important thing when it comes to the deadlift, apart from your legs. You are supposed to be lifting with your legs, but your back, keeping your body tight, can help assist the lift. So, we're always told in the deadlift, when you deadlift, you want to keep your body as tight as it can. Not just your legs, but your back. So the term of motion is when you're in your deadlift, you want to externally rotate your arms. And to externally rotate, you think of breaking the bar. So when you have a bar, if you're in the gym, or to even use as an example, I'll use my hands, you pull it. What happens there at my body now is my arms are rotated towards my back, and that tightens my back, thus allowing, so for when I get into a sumo deadlift stance, I'm wide, and I'm externally rotated, and I can pull quicker. Now, I don't have a bar to properly show you how to pull with a bar, but we're focusing on movement here. We're focusing on form. So, I will also have a video to follow with this with me using the bar. However, for the sake of movement and for the sake of form, we're going to be using just body. So, you tighten the back, you externally rotate those elbows, you keep your back tight, and then you brace. You go, and you almost act as if someone is punching you in the gut, and you're tightening your stomach muscles. You're holding it, you're going, and when you tighten that braces not just your back, but your core. That will also help assist in the lift. So, now that you have your body tight, your upper body tight, and your core braced, we now get into the hips and how to lift with your legs. So, lastly, I just want to come to this point right here, and that is hip position is the most important part of the deadlift. I explained earlier that when you deadlift, to use a side panel, your hips go from an anterior tilt, which is where your hips face down, compared to a posterior tilt where your hips are normal. So if you look at my hips, right now they're anterior tilt. They are tilted a little bit based on my positioning, but now they're not. When you deadlift, you want to posterior tilt your hips. My coach Kylie Bradley said this, think of a lever under your butt. So you have a lever under your glutes, and when you pull, you have your form all set, you're braced up, you break the bar, and then you lift your legs and you squeeze your butt. Well, you want to think of keeping that butt in tilt. You want to keep that lever under you, and that's when you pull. That is engaging not just your glutes, but also your abductors, the inside muscles of your quads. And that is where that lift consists of not lifting with your back, but lifting with your legs. Now, the most important part of that is to squeeze your glutes. If you don't squeeze your glutes, you're not engaging your muscles properly. Those muscles aren't quite firing. Yes, you're getting that tilt to come up in your back to where you can start to lift with your legs, and you get that momentum going. But if you don't squeeze with your glutes, you're not fully firing your glutes. You aren't fully firing those muscles to lift with your legs fully. So, for this part, we're going to think about squeezing your glutes as tight as you can and holding it. So, you get in your deadlift stance. Your legs are as far apart. Then you get in, you keep your contact of the ground, and then you pull. Even if you look at my quads right now, my quads are tight because I'm squeezing with my glutes. I'm allowing my legs to do the work instead of my back. If you look at the side, you can get a better example. So, once again, feet out, you kind of bend, and then keep your back braced, and then you pull, and then squeeze at your glutes. Once you do that, you've completed the lift. So, in conclusion, I've showed you guys how to deadlift. I've showed you the important function of gripping the ground with your feet, your stance, how to brace your back, how to brace your core, the importance of lifting with your legs and how to lift with your legs. So I hope this video helped. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know in the comment section below, or you can always email me. And I look forward to hearing your guys' response. Thank you.